Hey everyone, how's it going? Robert Ferringo back once again with my main man, Raphael Esparza. We are Doc Sports, and we are bringing you What Are the Odds, our our weekly deep dive into kind of the nuts and bolts of how numbers are set, why they're set, and where we see value. If you enjoy this video, be sure to like and of course subscribe to the Doc Sports YouTube channel, where you get daily free play videos as well as informational videos from some of the top handicappers in the country. Also, be sure to take advantage of that free 60 link down in the description. That's $60, same as cash, to be used at Doc Sports towards any handicapper, any package in any sport that you want. So, all right, Raphael, today, I know you're super excited about this, but today we're going to be breaking down some NFL divisional odds. We're going to start in the
Wait,
AFC.
I thought we were doing CFL Week 6 football. You said we're doing football. What the
that's
hell?
true. That's true. We got what? Women's World Cup? Is that no, not the World Cup. What's the women's soccer?
Euro Cup. Cup.
Sorry, the women's Euro, and
Three games in CFL Week 6 today. A game tonight. The Rough Riders, who are perfect, 3 against the spread and straight up. But I guess
oh my God, NFL. I already feel our numbers dropping across all channels right now with people just instantly turning off. So, all right, look, rookies report to the Los Angeles Chargers tomorrow on July 12th. So ready or not, here we come. The NFL football season is beginning. Training camps are starting in earnest over the next 2 weeks. So a lot of information is going to be thrown at you. So first, we are going to start with the AFC this week. Next week, we will break down the NFC divisional odds, going division by division, talking about where the numbers are, why they're there, and if applicable, who we like. So right now, we're going to start with the AFC East division winner odds. Surprise, surprise, the Buffalo Bills are the overwhelming favorite in this division. They are one of the largest favorites to win. Actually, they are the largest favorite to win any division in the NFL. They're minus 275. So you got to lay almost $300 just to win back $100. The Bills have dominated this division over the last few years. They've won 5 straight division titles. And Raphael, what's interesting about this is that we see turnovers. Like, there hasn't been a repeat winner in the NFC East in 20-something years, right? Like, the AFC North is always super competitive. We haven't had a lot of division winners in the AFC East. It was the Patriots for 16 of 17 years, okay, with Miami just a little blip in there once. And now the Buffalo Bills have won it 5 straight years. So is there any reason to think that this number is off, that it's a little too steep? Is it still worth a play? I know that's a lot of juice, but when the books set a number this high, they're basically saying, please don't bet this. This is almost a lock. Please don't bet this. So what are your thoughts before we get to some of the other teams? First, about Buffalo as a favorite at minus 275.
Well, I say pencil it in. It's going to be 6. I just don't see. I think New England's going to be improved. I think Miami's going to take a step backwards, and I think the Jets will. He's maybe small better than last year. They got rid of a lot of that cancerous that was in the locker room and on the field. But it's just Buffalo's to win, period. And now shop around if you're going to get this number. We have minus 275 that we were talking about. Some books have minus 265. I think FanDuel and some offshores have 285. So if you're going to bet the Buffalo Bills, if you're going to roll the dice with that, make sure you get the best number. Yes, we have minus 275 that we sent out, but again, you can find something 10 cents, 15 cents different. So I would say make sure you do that. I don't see another team, unless for some odd reason Josh Allen has marriage problems and throws interceptions and stuff like that, but I just don't see that happening, or injuries.
He could get hurt, right? Like, basically, if you're betting on this, you're saying Josh Allen isn't going to get hurt.
Who's their backup?
Who knows? Is it like...
Okay.
Is it Case Keenum's? Is it still Trent Edwards? Is Trent Edwards still bombing around over there for the Bills? It doesn't even matter. But basically, again, if you're making this wager, that's what it all comes down to. If Josh Allen is healthy and he plays 17 games, then it's mighty Mitch Trubisky is the backup.
Jeez.
You're saying that he's going to be healthy and they're going to win it. Now, New England is the second favorite at plus 500. Miami is at plus 700, and the New York Jets are at plus 1,400 to win this division. Now, Raphael, what is interesting about the Jets is that at this time last year, they were actually the favorites to win the division. They were plus 160 to Buffalo's plus 195. Okay, so if we assume that what you initially said about the Jets is correct and that they've gotten better addition by subtraction, all right, making the coaching change, maybe that's a positive upgrade. Obviously, getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and going to Justin Fields may not feel like an upgrade, but when you take all the drama and prima donna stuff that came with Aaron Rodgers and just extract that from the locker room, maybe that's a positive. So just from a value standpoint, is there something to it that maybe that might be worth a little sprinkle, maybe $100 on the Jets at 14-1 there?
No, I mean, yeah, you could, but there's better value if you're going to sprinkle something else on the Jets. Their total season wins 5.5, the over is minus 160. Well, sprinkle 6.5 at plus money if you're going to do that. I just don't see that. I think there's two teams. I think they're going to be competing with Miami for the gutter of the division. I'm not sold on Miami at all, even though we're going to talk about Miami in a short while. Tua's not been the answer. The whole coaching staff has not been the answer. I thought the trades that did the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple of weeks ago scratches my head for both teams. So I think if we're going to see something change, I think the Jets could leapfrog Miami and maybe not get the gutter spot, and maybe the Dolphins are in the gutter.
Okay, well, again, you brought up Miami, so let's stay there. Last year at this time, they were plus 210. So last year at this time, we had a relatively tight three-team race based on the odds. Plus 160 for the Jets, plus 195 for the Bills, who obviously ended up winning it going away, and plus 210 for the Dolphins. So they were plus 210 last year, plus 700 this year. When you look at their roster, again, there's a lot of drama in their locker room. A lot of stuff has come out about players being late for meetings, even after they were fined. They looked like a team that quit in certain games last year. I remember the Monday Night Football game against the Tennessee Titans. That was a completely pathetic effort. However, as bad as they were dealing with Tua injury issues again, dealing with a lot of injury issues across the board, dealing with some drama, they still won 8 games last year. They were 8-9. Okay, where New England was 4-13, the Jets were 5-12. They were off the rails. It was kind of those everything that could have went wrong for Miami. And they were still kind of right around 500. So again, them this year at almost quadruple the value of where they were last year, still can't entice you here?
No, not at all. Even if Buffalo has injuries, I'd rather put my money on New England.
Okay, the Patriots are plus 500. Again, last year at this time, plus 2,600. That's how much everything has changed for the Patriots. Now, the Patriots are the buzz team in the AFC East and kind of in the NFL, frankly. They changed head coaches. Obviously, Gerard Mayo was in way over his head. And you never want to be the guy that takes over for the guy, right? Like, that's an unenviable position as he was taking over for Bill Belichick, one of the greats of all time. But bring in Mike Vrabel, whose teams always seem to overachieve in Tennessee. They spent a lot more money in free agency, which is not new for New England. They have done that with varying degrees of success over the last 6 or 7 years. Most of it relatively unsuccessful spending. And a few other numbers that are pointing towards an upward trajectory for the Patriots. Raphael, do you think that the Patriots are getting a little bit overvalued, overinflated, overrated? Or are you kind of buying into this New England hype?
Buying in because I think Verbo's a head players coach. I think the players are excited that he's there. I think they're going to play harder for him. And you said it. They got a lot of great free agents that they picked up. And I thought they did really well in the draft. It shocks me that the total season wins open up at 7.5, minus 130. And it's up to like minus 175. I think most books will probably move it to a solid 8 or adjust it the way you want. And adjust their lines. But no, I'm sold on this New England Patriots team. Now, are they going to win the division and make a playoff run? No, but I think they're going to be a lot improved, which that could help next year because there's some really good free agents that can want to go to New England next year.
Mike Vrabel, his last 2 years in Tennessee, he went 7-10 and 6-11. Okay, they had the 2 double-digit winning years in 2020, which was a COVID year, in 2021. Of course, 2019, they make it to the AFC Championship game. But a lot of that was on the back of Derrick Henry, who's just an absolute mutant animal. Are we kind of overvaluing Mike Vrabel as a head coach? I believe he's 54-45 in his career as a head coach. As I mentioned, he coached for 6 years, made the playoffs 3 of those years. Everyone's just kind of assuming that because he's in there, he's going to instantly turn everything around. Are we jumping the gun on Vrabel a little bit?
No, because look at the team he played. He had a coach within Tennessee the last couple of years. They were garbage. So now he's got a lot of new shiny toys. He's got a nice young QB. Yes, he doesn't have a powerful running back like he did in Tennessee. But no, now if he flops here, then yes, I'm putting the big overrated sign above his head or underneath his name. But right now, I'm excited for to see what New England does.
Now, Buffalo's the favorite, again, because they've won it 5 straight times and because they have by far the best quarterback and the best quarterback coach combination. However, there are some troubling numbers that might point to some regression. You know, the Buffalo Bills only allowed 6 sacks last year. That is unbelievable when you think about it, that they only surrendered 6 sacks as a team. And they were plus 24 in turnover differential, which is clearly an unsustainable number. Do you worry about the Bills, who went 13-4 last year? Their win total is set at 11.5. Do you worry about them taking a little bit of a step back this year? And if so, do you think that might open the door for one of these teams to maybe, I think we're both in agreement that Buffalo is an overwhelming favorite for good reason. And it would be shocking if they didn't win this division. However, do you feel like they could take a step back and maybe one of these teams could make it at least a horse race?
I just don't see that happening. Maybe New England, but unless there's an injury, that's the only thing I can say. A quarterback that's just coming off probably a long honeymoon just all summer that can maybe mess up a game. But that's the only thing I can see happen if there's an injury. There's a reason why their total season wins 11.5. There's a reason why the bettors are betting it. I think they win the division pretty easily.
All right, you are here with Robert Ferringo and Raphael Esparza, 2 of the top handicappers at Doc Sports. Be sure to check us out at docsports.com. And next, we're going to break down the AFC North Division winner odds. This is one of the most competitive divisions in football. Last year, Baltimore made it back-to-back titles, going 12-5 and finishing 2 games ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both teams made the playoff. So not surprisingly, Baltimore is the favorite this year to win the division for a 3rd straight time. Right now, Baltimore sitting at around minus 145, minus 150 odds. Cincinnati is actually in the 2nd position at plus 225, followed by Pittsburgh at plus 550. And then, I mean, we have to mention them because technically they're an NFL team, but Cleveland pulling in the last place at plus 3,000. So, Raphael, again, as I mentioned, Baltimore won back-to-back division titles here in the AFC North, uber competitive division. However, a little trivia for you. You don't even have to tell me who it was. When do you think was the last time that a team won 3 straight division titles in this division?
I have no clue. Not even close.
1997.
Oh, wow. I thought it was later.
94 to 97, the Pittsburgh Steelers won it.
Much
it wasn't even the AFC North back then, I don't believe. We certainly weren't in the same alignment that we have right now. There was only 3 AFC divisions back then. So history is working against the Steelers right now. They are a bigger favorite. Are you surprised that they're not a little bit closer to even money, even though they are favored? Minus 150 seems a little bit thick, considering that unlike the AFC East, where really it's long shot contenders, there's no real viable rival to the Bills right now. In the AFC North, you can make an argument that they have 2 viable rivals. Okay, Cincinnati, if Joe Burrow's healthy, they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. And the Steelers are the Steelers. Whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, they got substandard quarterback play last year, and they still won 10 games. On top of the fact that the Steelers are just always a thorn in the Ravens' side and vice versa. So are you a little bit surprised that Baltimore is such, I don't want to call them an overwhelming favorite, but they're one of the few teams that has minus money odds to win their division?
I think most of that money came in because people think Pittsburgh's a joke right now. This is not a normal Tomlin team with all the with Watt sitting on my couch right now waiting to get his money. Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. Ridiculous trades I'm still trying to understand with Miami. So I think right now they think the Steelers is a joke and maybe Tomlin's close to be on his way out. So I think that's why they bet the Ravens. And this one opened up at minus 120 to win a division. So it moved 25 cents. Some books even have 30-cent move on it. I'm not sold because you know me, I love boxing, I love MMA, and I've learned this. Father time's always going to creep on you. And you know who's aging? There's a guy in the backfield in Baltimore. Yes, he ran wild last year, but he got a year older. Teams get to see him now in Baltimore. So I think, yes, he's going to be the king. Yes, he'll probably have a good season, but not like last year's season. And I'm still not sold on Lamar when it comes to those big games and playoff games. So this one's wide open. And I can tell you right now, I have nothing to say about the Cleveland Browns when we get to that team. So they're 3,001 for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore went 12-5 last year. Okay, it is questionable whether they got better in the offseason, and they were better than a 12-5 team last year. They had a few fluky last-second losses, and it's a relatively difficult schedule. They still are one of the premier teams in the AFC because they have one of the premier quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson. All that being said, over the last 14 years, since 2011, here are the number of division titles won by each of these teams. Baltimore has won 6, Cincinnati has won 4, and Pittsburgh has won 4. So it's relatively equally distributed.
How many has Cleveland won?
Cleveland hasn't won one since 2011. But just with that, it feels like there's a little bit more parity in this division than there are in some of the others. So if you had to choose between Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, if we agree that maybe Baltimore is a little bit overvalued relative to what their actual talent level disparity is between Cincinnati and Baltimore. And as I mentioned, you can't ignore history. It's been 30 years since somebody's won 3 straight division titles in the AFC North. That's not nothing. So if we discount Baltimore for a second, who do you like more? Again, not just from a predictive standpoint, but from a value perspective. Cincinnati plus 225, Pittsburgh at plus 550. Which one of those two do you think is worth a bite at the apple?
I'm going to say Pittsburgh, even though I just said that there was a joke of what happened all summer long waiting for Aaron Rodgers. Watt still not signed. Again, ridiculous trade with Miami. But I don't trust Cincinnati's defense. They also have a guy on my couch waiting to get paid on defense. Yes, Cincinnati is going to score a lot of points, but they're also going to give up a lot of points. What was their Achilles heel last year? What was their defense? Did they do anything this year on their defense? No. So I trust Pittsburgh right now because they have a quarterback. Yes, he's aging, but he's been there. He's not going to throw that bad mistake that we've seen the last 3 quarterbacks since Big Ben. I think he's going to control the ball a little bit better. I think their run game is going to be a little bit better this year. So I trust Pittsburgh more than I trust the Bengals defense, not their offense, but their defense.
I think I would take Cincinnati, even from a value perspective. And I agree completely with everything that you said. I just think that they went 9-8 last year, and they probably played about as poorly as they could. And I like Joe Burrow more than I like Lamar Jackson, and I obviously like Joe Burrow.
I agree.
Than I like Aaron Rodgers. So, if you give me the best quarterback in the division and you're giving me over 2-1 odds, I'll usually take that. I agree with you on Pittsburgh. I think people are sleeping on this team. The fact that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, some people are kind of turning it into a punchline, like because they haven't been to a Super Bowl in X number of years, because they haven't won a playoff game in nearly a decade. I get it. But you know what? As a Bears fan, I would love to,
here we go,
just make the playoffs every single year or every other year and never have a losing record. Like I said, they won 10 games last year. Is it that big of a leap to go from 10 wins to 12 wins? I don't think so. Not when you have the defense that they have that can go out and win games all by themselves. They did bring in DK Metcalf as well, although they got rid of George Pickens, which I understand why they got rid of George Pickens. I think they didn't want him in the locker room. It's kind of petulant. But the guy's in a contract year, and George Pickens is awesome. He's awesome. He might be a maniac. I'm pretty sure he is a maniac. When he's not on Antonio Brown level. Well, I won't go there with him. but he's kind of nuts, but he's also kind of awesome as a football player. And I was really excited about them having DK Metcalf on one side and George Pickens on the other. Okay, offense has been the problem in Pittsburgh for a decade. Okay, even the last few years of the Big Ben era, it was a pretty ugly offense. You got DK Metcalf and George Pickens, even with an aging Aaron Rodgers, a young improving offensive line, Freiermuth at tight end. That's a real big boy offense. Okay, that's an offense that can go out and score some points and complement that defense and maybe help keep them off the field. My big problem with Pittsburgh is this. Arthur Smith is kind of a loser. Okay, I don't think he wasn't a good head coach, and he's not a good offensive coordinator. Again, like we talked about with Mike Vrabel when we were talking about the AFC East, whether or not he was a little bit overrated. You know who Arthur Smith made his name coach when he was an offensive coordinator? He had Derrick Henry to just hand the ball to 30 times a game. Like, you don't have to be an offensive genius, some offensive mastermind. And his offenses, when he was with Atlanta, were terrible. I don't feel like what he wants to do offensively fits with what Aaron Rodgers' strengths are. So I would feel a lot more confident about this Pittsburgh Steelers team if they had a different offensive coordinator. Do you think that's fair?
It is, but let's face it, Aaron Rodgers is going to be probably in his ear and probably saying, no, that's not going to work. No, I don't think so. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Because we've heard the stories coming out of Jets camp last year that Aaron Rodgers was changing things with the offense. So you're 100% correct on that one. Yeah, he was horrible in Atlanta. Their offense ran poorly, but let's face it, it's almost like the LeBron effect. Do the Lakers really have a head coach? No, it's LeBron. Does the Steelers really have an offensive coordinator? I think Aaron Rodgers is probably the voice of a lot of that.
Okay, so I think you and I are both kind of in agreement on Aaron Rodgers. I think everybody's really like, how many Aaron Rodgers fanboys are there right now, right? Like, I think
he's going to win the Super Bowl, and he's going to walk off TV with whoever's interviewing, flipping the bird off, and just walking out of the sunset. I can guarantee you the Steelers win a Super Bowl, and all we're going to see is him walking off, giving the middle finger, and then that's the last thing we see about him.
Well, here's my thing. I think we were both in agreement that Rodgers is kind of a douche, that he has negative leadership characteristics, and that, frankly, when you look back on his career, he was an all-time talent and kind of underachieved with just one Super Bowl. Yes, he's got the MVPs, but just wasn't the leader that he should have been. And I think at some point, even he's going to look back on his career and maybe feel that. However, somebody brought this up, and I thought it was a really fair point, so I wanted to share it about Aaron Rodgers this year. You know, Aaron Rodgers didn't need to come back. He didn't need to. He doesn't need the money. He took well below market value. Okay, he's got other things going on in his life. He's always been very vocal about the fact that football isn't his entire existence type of thing. He could go into media. He's accomplished everything that he has in his career. He's got all the money that he needs. So is there something to be said that the fact that he willingly went to Pittsburgh, an organization that is just fine without him? Mike Tomlin won't kowtow to anybody. The Rooney family, like that organization, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're not going to bend the silver and black to anyone. Okay, so the fact that he willingly supplicated himself by going to Pittsburgh, that maybe he is a little self-aware, maybe he is ready to just kind of be part of the team instead of the circus, and that maybe if there is anything left in the tank, and basing on his numbers the second half last year, there may be that we might actually get some good Aaron Rodgers this year.
Yeah, I think we do, because don't forget, he started last year. He was coming off of Achilles. So how healthy was he weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to count on this one? And I took a step back when I saw how much he got paid. He could have really asked for $20 million for 1 year. He didn't. He didn't pull a LeBron. Wow, I'm bashing LeBron today. He didn't pull a LeBron and say, hey, you know what? I want 50. I want my money, and I want my kid to play with me as a running back. No, he actually said, you know what? I'll take this. So I believe he wants to ball out 1 more year. He's got to put everything in the tank and go for it.
There were a lot of teams that needed quarterbacks. Could have gone to Las Vegas before they made that trade. He could have gone to New Orleans. He could have gone a few other places and cashed in if he just wanted to play. So I do find it interesting that he took less money and he went to a team that he's thinking, you know, maybe I want one more shot. Just get me in the playoffs. Just get me in the playoffs and give me one more shot at it. So maybe he will kind of toe the line and be a little bit better of a teammate. So look, we both. I just got to put it out there. The Browns at 30-1. It's not like we've never seen a crazy worst to first story in the NFL. Last year at this time, they were plus 450 to win the division. Baltimore was plus 145, Cincinnati plus 165, and the Steelers actually were picked for last place, judging by the divisional odds last year at plus 750. Cleveland at 30-1, not even worth the $20 ticket, huh?
Yep, not even worth. I don't even know who's going to be the starting quarterback.
I don't think they even know who's going to be their starting quarterback. However, and we'll do more on Cleveland just down the road, so I don't want to deep dive it here. However, is there an argument to be made that they will be better this year? They went 3-14 last year. Okay. They still have a very good coach. They still have a good offensive line. 2 years ago, their defense was probably the best in football, if not one of the three best in football. And then it just completely fell apart. Is there an argument to be made that this team, if we both agree, may not win the division, that them upsetting one of the other three teams, that they may be a team that has a big say in who wins the division?
I think they could squeak out maybe 5 wins. I mean, I don't think they get 6. I think they can get that 5th win and maybe mess up someone's chance to win a division. But I can see them win 5. The defense is not going to be their issue. It's going to be that offense. Because let's face it, Flacco going to probably be week 1, 2, maybe 3, their quarterback, and then they'll have to start one of the young pups after that. So what's one of those young pups going to do? Let's face it, Pickett is going to be on my couch pretty soon watching some baseball, because that's probably the odd man out producing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like go with one of the you know how I feel about starting rookie quarterbacks. I say never, ever, 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 ever. But if these guys end up starting Joe Flacco, I mean, that guy's a dud. Like, it was a fluke what he did over like a 5 or 6 week period a couple years ago. Indianapolis thought he was going to replicate that. Like, that guy's been shot for a long time. So if Flacco ends up winning the job, it's almost like them in New Orleans are announcing straight away that they're both in the tank race for Arch Manning. So we'll see about that. So, okay, we're back here with Raphael Esparza, my esteemed colleague, and myself, Robert Ferringo, breaking down NFL divisional odds. Next, we're going to take a look at the AFC South. Now, Raphael, this is probably one of, if not the most competitive divisions in football. We'll get to the AFC West next. That's probably the most competitive. No clear favorite. Houston is plus 100, so they are the secure favorite. But one of the few divisions where we have a team we don't have a team that's in negative odds territory. Okay, meaning like minus 120, minus 145, minus 275, like the Bills. Jacksonville is currently second at plus 300. Indianapolis right behind them at plus 350. And then last year's worst team in the NFL and last place finisher in the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans at 750. Now, Raphael, we're going to do this one a little bit differently. We're going to start worst to first. And speaking of worst to first, over the last 20 years in the NFL, there have been 27 teams that have gone worst to first, meaning they finished in last place in the division one year and then won the division the following year. That is an average of 1.4 teams a year over 20 years. That is not a small sample size, meaning that out of the 8 divisions, somebody that was in last place last year is probably going to win their division this year. Is there any chance that it could be the Titans this year?
No chance.
And why is that? Why is that? And again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. It was 2 years ago that the Houston Texans did exactly that with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. Tennessee doesn't have a rookie head coach. They have a second-year head coach, but a rookie quarterback. So why not us?
I think Houston's going to be much healthier. I think the sophomore slump is going to be out. So it's going to be for their quarterback. I thought didn't play as well last year. I mean, and granted, they had a wide receiver that had a horrific injury. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I just gets my stomach turn. Thank you. Watching him get hurt was a little gruesome, but I think they're a little bit healthy. Yes, I think Tennessee's going to be much improved, But there's a reason why their total season wins 5.5. I tell people, if you think your team has a shot to win a division, to make the playoffs, vice versa, look at the total season wins. Vegas is telling you right there that their total season wins is 5.5. So no, I don't think they're worst to first on this one. Yes, Houston did it, but they had a great QB. Do we see it? I don't see a great QB coming out of Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as high on the rookie quarterback on Cam Ward as a lot of people are. But again, I don't really think anybody was projecting that CJ Stroud was going to do what he did in his rookie season. And if we're talking about a worst to first situation, which is what we are, one of the things is it's not just about the team that goes from worst to first. It's about the rest of the division, right? And I think we're both in agreement that the AFC South is the worst division in football, correct?
Yep.
Meaning that Tennessee's path to the top of the division is probably the softest. There's no Kansas City. There's no Buffalo. There's no Philadelphia that they have to summit past to win this division. So, last year at this time, Tennessee was plus 950. And again, they ended up having the worst record in football, so plus 750. Do you feel like that's an appropriate adjustment based on the offseason additions that they've made? Do you think that this number should be closer to like plus 550, plus 600 than plus 750, plus 800?
No, because you said it's the worst division in football. So when you have the worst division in football, you're going to get parity on not just 2 teams, not just 3 teams. You're going to get parity on all 4 teams. Tennessee fans are excited that they got a new quarterback and new everything, shiny new toys to play with. So maybe it is our shot to stuff like that. So no, it's just because of the division they are. It has nothing to do with they got great free agent signings and they drafted well. No, it's just your division sucks and you have parity in your division.
All right, Indianapolis Colts plus 350. What are your thoughts?
This is the only one. I was going back and forth. I'm not sold on Jacksonville. And don't tell people that because I do the Jacksonville Jaguars pregame show every Sunday, and I don't want to get in trouble because they paid me as it is. But I'm not sold on them. So, but am I really sold on Indianapolis? I don't know. I was going back and forth. I think the Colts defense will be much improved this year than it was last year. They need to be healthy on offense, plain and simple. If they're healthy on offense and they can run the ball, then I think they can maybe make some noise and maybe steal a win in Houston or steal a win in Jacksonville. Well, everyone steals wins in Jacksonville, but I think if they can be healthy and run the ball, I think the Colts can maybe put some noise on Houston.
I don't think that Indianapolis should be plus 350. I think that this is probably the worst of the 4.
I think it should be 5-1. That's what I thought it was.
I think Tennessee should be closer to plus 600, plus 550. I think Indianapolis should be around plus 500. They're not a very good team. I mean, basically, you're betting on a Daniel Jones resurgence. Okay, he was a starter for 6 years. We've seen a lot of Daniel Jones. Like you could say. Yeah, there's a lot of dysfunction with the Jets. They've been the worst, record-wise, they've been the worst franchise in the NFL over the last 8 years. So how much of that was really on him? But are we really expecting Daniel Jones to make that big of a jump? Because Anthony Richardson's hurt. And even if Anthony Richardson isn't hurt, Anthony Richardson is a bust. Okay, like I don't know how much more you need to see of him to know that he is never going to be a quality NFL starter. So
he's an SEC quarterback.
Oh, that's right. No Florida quarterback has ever been a bust in the NFL ever. So I'm not buying into Indianapolis. They lost 2 offensive line starters. Ryan Kelly was the leader of that offensive line. Pro Bowler, longtime starting center. They lose Will Freeze. Jonathan Taylor. I love him. You love him. Everybody loves him, right? But he's another guy that's getting up there in age. He had a lot of touches last year that usually wears down year to year on running backs. Do they still have a good complement of skill position players even for the quarterback to get? So I think the Colts odds are weak. I think even if you're just the Colts bandwagon driver, there's no way that I would touch this one. Now, I am going to disagree with you a little bit on Jacksonville. Now, I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence guy. I haven't been since his rookie season. Going into his second year, I remember telling people, I was like, he's got a little bit more bust potential than people care to care to admit. He just misses a lot of throws. He misses a lot of throws. He makes a lot of questionable decisions. Now, that being said, at plus 300, at 3-1 odds here, remember, Jacksonville was the favorite to win this division just 2 years ago. Do have a new head coach, do have some nice young pieces. They have Pro Bowlers at all levels of their defense, all 3 levels of their defense. They have Pro Bowl caliber talent, as well as some pretty good skill position talent and a decent offensive line. The pieces are there. The pieces are there. I think one of Jacksonville's big problems over the last 6, 7, 8 years has been their coaching. Their coaching has been kind of a joke. They've just missed on one guy after another. Now, we don't know who Liam Cohen is. Like, he had one good year as offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. What does that tell us? Absolutely nothing, right? But again, you're giving me 3-1 again, basically against a Houston team that has won back-to-back division titles. And just like we talked about with the AFC North, the last time that a team won 3 or more straight division titles in the AFC South was 2007. Okay, that was from 2003 to 2007. That was Peyton Manning's Indianapolis Colts. So other than that, over the last 18 years, we've seen a lot of parity and we've seen a lot of turnover in the AFC South. So even if you don't like Jacksonville on spec, you don't like their roster, maybe you don't like their schedule, maybe you don't believe in Liam Cohen, just from a numbers perspective, can I say, okay, you got $100. You can play it and get even money on Houston, or you can get 3-1 on Jacksonville. What do you think?
I would take the even money. There's a reason why Jacksonville were listening to the Steelers. They were listening to the Saints. They were listening to the Raiders about maybe possibly getting rid of Trevor Lawrence. There's a reason why we saw a whole bunch of smoke on Trevor Lawrence's name maybe not being the Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback. Because I always say when there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm not sold on him. I mean, how many years are you going to put a jersey on him and say, this is our year with the best quarterback to ever come out besides Andrew Luck? I'm sorry. In my eyes, he's a bust. We gave him the Andrew Luck trophy. He's the best quarterback since we've seen with Andrew Luck in Stanford. And what has he done? Nothing. He hasn't done nothing. So I can't. Yes, they got some nice shiny pieces. And yes, I think their defense is going to be really good. But it's all about, what's the NFL? All about the QB. If you don't have a QB, you don't have a team. And now all of a sudden, just because they have a new head coach, they have a QB. No, give me the even money with Houston because they have a QB.
Okay, again, I admit it up front. I'm not a huge Trevor Lawrence guy. I've been a Trevor Lawrence skeptic. That being said, do you really feel like CJ Stroud is 3 times better than Trevor Lawrence? You feel
yes.
like you do. You feel like there's
yes,
that?
No question. Because how many years do we have to see Trevor Lawrence put a Jaguar helmet on and say, "Oh, what? Oh, there's the Trevor Lawrence that we saw coming out of Clemson." Finally, what was that? 20 years ago? No.
Okay, so Houston was plus 100 last year to win the division, and they did. Plus 100 again this year. Then if you feel that strongly about the Texans and the fact that they've won back-to-back division titles, don't you feel like that they should be that their odds that there is a little bit of value here then with them, that their numbers should be closer to say what Baltimore, another back-to-back division title winner in the AFC North, they're around minus 150. Do you feel like that would be a little bit more of an appropriate number for the Texans to win the division?
It should, but the division is trash. So you're going to have parity. When you don't have that front runner like Kansas City, Buffalo.
But you're saying they are the front runner. You're saying that their quarterback is 3 times better than the second place.
I'm not saying they're Buffalo. I'm not saying they're Kansas City. I'm not saying they're the Eagles. But if I'm breaking down this division, then I think they're the best team in a division. They're not that quality team that's going to make noise when they're in the playoffs like the teams I just mentioned.
They're not, but we're talking like if Jacksonville stinks, we both agree that the Colts stink and their odds are kind of off. And Tennessee was the worst team in football last year. Okay, so it's like 1 good playoff team that's won back-to-back titles and 3 kind of joke teams. That sounds a lot like the AFC East, where we have Buffalo and then 3 clown car teams. Okay,
yeah, I think the Colts can be better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. If my division order is Houston, Indy, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. That's my order is right there.
I guess what I'm saying is that if you agree with that assessment, then you're getting great value on Houston at plus 100.
I agree. Great value here.
because with Buffalo at minus 275 and looking at them relative to the other three teams in their division, if you look at Houston, everything from coach to quarterback to defense, they had a top 10 defense last year to offensive line, all of it, factor in all of that stuff. They're plus 100. You're getting even money. I mean, that all of the other AFC divisional odds, all the other AFC divisions, the favorite is in negative territory. Kansas City's minus 120, Baltimore's minus 150, Buffalo's minus 275. Houston is the only one that's given plus money value. It's even money, but that's still better that you don't have to lay any juice. So I think we're kind of in agreement that of all the division favorites, they are the most favorable wager. Would you agree with that?
If I released futures on our sites, I was to do a 888 on Texans to win the division. 888.
There's your free play right there.
My free play. There you go. My free play. 888 Houston Texans and Trevor Lawrence sucks. And you know what? I'll give it. If Trevor Lawrence cuts his hair like sunshine in the movie, then I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to wrap this up with the AFC West division winner odds. I am Robert Ferringo. I am here with my main man, Raphael Esparza. We are two of the top handicappers at docsports.com. Raphael, the AFC West is probably, maybe it has passed the AFC North as the best division in the AFC. You think so? Or do you think the AFC is still top dog? Excuse me, the AFC North is still not top dog.
Oh, I would say AFC North is still a top dog because last time I checked, the Raiders play. I'm going to do a step backwards. Why are the Raiders should be plus 20,000 or 2,000? Why are the 15-1? Really? Just because Tom Brady has an offense there? No, give me a. Well, he is dating Sofia Vergara. Man, this guy wins on everything. But no, I just don't see the Raiders should be a much worse number than they are.
Okay, you brought up the odds. We'll get right to it. Kansas City is a minus 120 favorite to win the AFC West, followed by the Chargers in second place at plus 300, Denver nipping at their heels at plus 325, and then the Las Vegas Raiders at plus 1,500. I absolutely agree with you that their number should probably be double that. The division that I'm comparing the West to, the AFC North, has, a minus money line favorite in Baltimore, two close together underdogs nipping at their heels in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, comparable to what the Chargers and Broncos are doing to the Chiefs, and then the 30-1 Cleveland Browns compared to the Raiders at 15-1. And I mean, honestly, they've been two of the biggest joke franchises in the NFL for the better part of the last 40 years. Oh yeah, except for those few years when Cleveland didn't have a franchise. So I agree with you. The idea of Vegas only pulling 15-1 odds when they would have to leapfrog three obviously better teams with them. But Raphael, you understand how numbers are set, why they're set where they are. The Raiders are only 15-1 instead of 30-1 because the Vegas books know that they're going to pull a lot of homer money, right? And they don't want to overexpose themselves to the locals who all come in and throw 50, 100, 300 bucks on their hometown team. Do you feel like that's why they're only 15-1, where more appropriate odds would be probably closer to 25 or 30-1?
Yeah, and I'm serious. I think the Brady effect has a lot to do with it as well. So even though he's not going to be on the sidelines or stuff like that, but I think the Brady effect pretty much on it. Are they going to be much improved? Yes, they're going to be improved from last year, but they're not. I'm sorry. There's three. I'll tell you this right now. The Chiefs aren't winning this division. I know I just leapfrog a whole bunch of stuff on this one, but I do not see them winning this division. But I don't see the Raiders coming close to winning this division.
Well, with the Raiders, maybe it's not as much the Tom Brady effect as it is the Pete Carroll effect.
Good point.
Showing a lot of deference to him and a lot of respect that he gets for what he's accomplished.
100%, you're correct. But
okay.
Both of them give a good effect.
Well, listen, you flashed the headline, so I'm not gonna go away from that. You're saying Kansas City isn't going to win this division. Okay. No. My question to you initially was going to be, why isn't this the easiest bet of any of these division odds winners? Kansas City went 15-2 last year. They made it to another Super Bowl. They have won this division 9 straight times. Last year at this time, they were minus 270 to win the division. Now they're only minus 120. how isn't this just an automatic bet on Kansas City? And one of those things where, okay, they've won it 9 straight times. You're getting great money line value on them. If they don't win it, you just kind of throw your hand, and you're getting Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, one of the preeminent quarterback coach combinations in NFL history, where you bet this, and if it doesn't come through, you're just like, hey, I bet on Patrick Mahomes and lost. You feel like you feel good about that, even if you lose. So what is it about this that makes you think that this is a sucker play?
I think the Chargers and Broncos are nipping. Both of them are nipping at the Chiefs dynasty. And last time I checked, last picture I saw, Patrick Mahomes' chest looks like Andy Reid's chest. Do a sit-up. Go on, eat a salad. Do something. I mean, I'm just not sold. Kelsey's gotten older. Mahomes is getting held. Don't forget, he had a bad wheel towards the end of the season. Yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl. Their offensive line is still going to be question mark. They still don't have that key offensive weapon besides old man Kelsey. Get married. Get engaged. Do something. I just don't see this team being a division winner. I'm torn who's going to win the division, though. I don't know if it's going to be the Chargers or Broncos. I think it's great value on both, 3-1 and plus 350 that you can shop around and get the Broncos.
Okay. So, I'm a big futures player. I already know my 8-unit futures bet is going to be that I'm going to release on the site. Love season win totals in college and the pros. I study a lot of preseason statistics, not preseason betting, but before the season. I put a lot of time into this. And I can tell you, over the last 30 years, there are some guys that just defy the laws of mathematics when it comes to NFL betting. Okay, Tom Brady was one of those guys. When you look at the amount of times that the New England Patriots went over their season win total, which was often one of the highest season win totals on the board, it was ridiculous. Peyton Manning was one of those guys. Their season win total would be 12.5. They'd win 14 games. It'd be 13. They'd win 14 games. It'd be 11.5. They'd win 12, 13 games. Aaron Rodgers is another one of these guys. His record against Vegas season win totals is just ridiculous. And Patrick Mahomes is another guy who just beats his number every year. Ho-hum. They can't be as good as they were last year, right? They have to come back to earth. All of these statistical measurements suggest that they can't sustain this rate in 1-score games and turnovers, injury, all this stuff, but they just do it every single year. So, make me the case, not why somebody will catch them, but why Kansas City will fall apart.
You watched the Super Bowl? I mean, I think you did.
Mm-hmm.
They got exposed badly. All those teams that you mentioned did not lose a Super Bowl like how the Chiefs lost that Super Bowl. I think that's why I think that was a sign of the times. I could be wrong. We could be coming back next year and I'll be like, hey, I was dead wrong. Congratulations to the Chiefs. Congratulations to Fat Mahomes. You proved me wrong. But no, I just think the defense of Denver, the run game of the Chargers, the Harbaugh effect, a second year coming out of Chargers. Peyton finally get the Saints name out of his mouth now. He gets to talk about the defense and the quarterback. He's a Bronco now. Like last year, I don't know how many times I'd watch a Denver Bronco game, and the word Saints will come out of the announcer's mouth. I don't want to hear that this year. So I just think those two teams are nipping on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Listen,
name me two teams that nipped in the New England when New England was dominating. Nobody.
Nobody. That division was
full.
This
division has two.
Okay, in Patrick Mahomes' defense, and I can say this definitively from experience, the camera does add 10 pounds. Okay, I actually
put a shirt on. I don't take pictures of my shirt bigger. On.
I have two on. I have two on because for that very reason. Okay, then if you think that the Chiefs aren't going to win the division, okay, we have established that. You got $500 to play. How are you playing it? And we've already thrown out the Raiders. How are you playing that $500 with the Chargers and Broncos? Are you splitting it 250? Are you putting 400 on one, 100 on the other? Are you putting all 500 on?
I don't know.
And playing for that big 3-1 payout? How would you take $500 and play it in this division?
July 11th, right now,
I
would probably put a little bit more on the Broncos just because of their defense.
What's a little bit more? I just gave you $500. You tell me how you're going to bet.
I would say 3-2, 300 on the Broncos and 2 on the Chargers. But at the same time, I don't know how many times Jim Harbaugh gave me the finger when he was at Michigan when I would bet against him. And he could do it to me this year with the Chargers. So I'm going with defense. And the way I saw Denver play defense last year, I have to give them a little bit edge. So that's why I would say 300, 200.
Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh is a winner. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. He's going to be a winner with the Chargers, and the fact that they have one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. They're going to be successful there. However, I'm not as high on the Chargers because last year they played kind of a comically easy schedule. If you go back and go through LA's regular season schedule, it was a joke. It was a who's who of just really bad teams. So I think they're going to face some stiffer tests here. But let me ask you straight away, betting on the Chargers and Broncos to win the division, is it more just, look, this is what the value says, you're giving me 3-1, or so this is a numbers play, or is this I really like these teams. Like I'm looking.
I really like these teams.
I'm looking what's on the field, not what's on the book board.
I really like these teams because all I can think about when I see Kansas City is I can think about how the Eagles had no issue with them whatsoever. And then I think I look at 2 teams that have coaches and defense that both coaches want to establish themselves in the NFL. Peyton wants to get the Saints Super Bowl. I can win another Super Bowl besides going to New Orleans. We got the Harbaugh. I can win a Super Bowl, not a national championship. We have 2 head coaches that are eager to wipe out the king of that division. And I just think that division of the Chiefs is getting much older.
Would you categorize this as kind of a trap line on Kansas City? Do you think that?
Oh, yeah.
That the books are just baiting action?
Yeah, but the books, this is the New England effect. Every year, everyone was trying to beat New England, not bet against them. Like, oh, this Tom Brady in his youth when he was in his prime, greatest quarterback, blah, blah, blah. They weren't betting with him. They were betting against him. They wanted him to lose. This is the Michael Jordan effect. This is the bad boys trying to beat the Bulls. So, yes, that's why they're minus 130 on total season wins at 11.5. So, yeah, I agree. And I said, if I am wrong, July 12th of next year, I don't think it's a leap year next year, I would say, hey, you know what, Fat Mahomes, I was dead wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're right. They were trying to bet against them, and they were trying to beat them, and they didn't. Like all that guy did was win division titles. All that guy did was cash NFC champion tickets. All that guy did was beat his season win total over and over and over and over again. So for me, I'm the opposite.
I'm not categorizing. I think Brady's far ahead of Patrick Mahomes. That's another thing.
Oh, he is. That's unquestionable. I'm just saying from a betting perspective on how successful they were at the window, not on the field. And so for me, it's almost like I lived through it once with Brady. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. So I would take Kansas City. I would take Kansas City, and I would feel really good about it because, like I said, if you bet Kansas City to win this division at minus 120, I think you're getting great value. And if you do lose, because what if Bo Nix regresses like CJ Stroud did? Like every quarterback, ever. They call it the sophomore slump is real for a reason, right? Like, what if Bo Nix regresses? What if the Chargers have a problem stepping up against tougher competition? The Raiders are still the Raiders. I would feel foolish if I bet on Denver or the Chargers, and then the Chiefs, go 13-4 and win the division by 3 games and whatever. Versus if I bet on the Chiefs and Denver wins 14 games, it's almost like, all right, I tip my hat to you. They had a great year. I lost my bet, and that's it. Where I just feel bad. Just give me the best player. Give me the best player, and then give me the best coach. And at these odds, I feel really, really comfortable with that. So that's good. We disagree. That's why we do these things. It is your money out there, people that are watching. So you get to decide who you agree with and what to do with it. So that wraps up What Are the Odds? Thank you. We went a little long today, but hopefully you appreciated the statistical analysis and the insight.
And the Fat Mahomes joke.
And the Fat Mahomes.
Yeah, the Fat Mahomes
jokes.
Put a shirt
all
on.
That good stuff. As I mentioned, we will be back next week with the NFC Divisional Odds preview breakdown. Until then, carpe diem. Good luck.